Hello and welcome back to Alice Talks Football and welcome back to another live Manchester United news and transfer news update show. And today is meant to be the day that Jim Ratcliffe is going to do a big interview revealing all talking about the United future, Chelsea future and more. So do make sure you're subscribed because there'll be a video out tonight or tomorrow morning depending on how much time I have to update you guys on everything that goes down in that interview. The news is breaking all around about Mbappe wanting to leave PSG. So, of course, my Twitter feed is fueled with Mbappe to United. Would you take Mbappe at United? Could Mbappe come to United in January? I doubt it, but we will discuss the likelihood of that, the Mbappe situation. Could he go to United? You know, if Jim Ratcliffe comes out again and says he wants to buy United, someone said that could pressure the Glazers into doing something like signing Mbappe. Would it be a good signing Mbappe, even though it's probably not going to happen? However, Real Madrid have said that they don't want Mbappe now he signed that contract. We'll get into the Mbappe news, but I want to get into the CODY Gakpo story as well. Fabrizio Romano has spoken about a centre-back at Rangers who's United looking at. That he's also spoken about CODY Gakpo to United, potential January targets, Diego Dalot and more. So make sure you smash that like button, guys, and of course subscribe down below if you're new. I'm going to do a poll. We're going to do a poll for you guys. And the poll is going to be, would you take Mbappe at Manchester United? And some people might be going, Alice, look, it's Mbappe. Of course we take Mbappe at Manchester United. Of course we would. But then there's all the dressing room issues with Mbappe. So would you take Mbappe? I'm going to do a yes-no poll. Ask you guys because of all the dressing room issues that come along with them. But let's get right into the news. Where do we start? Do we start with Jim Ratcliffe? Do we start with the transfer news? Where are we starting, people? I think we could start with good old Ratcliffe as well. But I don't want Mbappe's bad personality. Would rather have Gakpo. A lot of people are saying, and I've seen this as a quite popular opinion, that they'd rather go for someone like CODY Gakpo than Kylian Mbappe. And you could look at it two ways, be like, oh my God, Mbappe's miles clear, like Mbappe's one of the best footballers in the world, this is crazy. But at the same time, you look at United, and I'm going to get to Jim Ratcliffe in a sec, but whenever United have brought big names and big stars, they're already like world-class players, they come to United and they end up being shit. Like, your Falcao's was a big name, he was shit. Your Di Maria's was a big name, he was shit. Your Sanchez was a big name, he was shit. Obviously, none of them were big as Mbappe. But what I'm saying is most of United's flops have been the big names, big money signings. Whereas, the players that seem to succeed are the players that come to United from a smaller club and United to step up and they're a good player at a smaller club and they come to United and they really make it, the type of player you bring in for the Portuguese league or the Eredivisie or a smaller La Liga club like Herrera came to United was a lot better. It's a weird approach because I do think United should go for the approach of they're in the beginning stages of the rebuild. We should be looking for those hidden Bundesliga, La Liga gems, some Eredivisie talent rather than going for big names. United could go out there and they could sign like some of the biggest names in world football, and that would be brilliant. That would be absolutely brilliant. I wouldn't say no to Mbappe. I wouldn't say no to Neymar. They're absolutely fantastic players. But then with the attitude problems we've had at United, with the ego problems, with the fact that we're in a rebuild, it's like almost there's a need for young, hungry players that haven't proved themselves at the top level yet that could go to United and smash it. The Bruno Guimaraes, who was really good in League One, and he's gone to Newcastle, he smashed it, and I'd take him in a heartbeat at United. Do we be looking at the Bruno Guimaraes of the world, where there's good talent there that come to the Premier League, or do you look at the Mbappes? So I actually weirdly do understand why some people would say they'd rather have someone like Gakpo than Mbappe just because of the attitude issues that come with Mbappe. I don't know if you guys have been following the Mbappe story much, but he signed that crazy new contract at PSG, crazy new contract, and Mbappe's annoyed that Messi's got more power in the dressing room. Mbappe's coming out slagging off his coach on social media. Mbappe and Neymar having beef on social media. Mbappe's annoyed that the Neymar scores more goals than him or better than him. Mbappe's annoyed that the players look up to Messi in the dressing room, not him, and he's not the main man. And it's like with all the dressing room issues United have had in the past and how Ten Hag is slowly trying to fix them, and we will talk about the dressing room issues and more. You could sit there and go, is Mbappe what United need? For the dressing room. And it's crazy because he's fucking Mbappe. Like, Mbappe at United, like, I'd be happy if we signed him. But then you're like, with everything that's coming out about Mbappe, how he's really unprofessional, how he's really spoiled, how he likes being the main man and thinks he's better than everyone. You're thinking, is that what we need? Because, you know, the media try and make out Ronaldo to be this villain, but we know he's not, because all the United players will come out and protect Ronaldo and say no. Ronaldo doesn't think he's bigger than anyone at the club. Ronaldo will talk to anyone at the club, youngsters, Tom Heaton, Dubravka. He don't care. Ronaldo doesn't act like he's better than anyone else. Ronaldo's happy not to be captain. Ronaldo's happy not to be powerful. You know, they've thrown a surprise party for Cristiano Ronaldo. We spoke about it in my video earlier, how Ronaldo's really good at United, but everything here about Mbappe is Neymar liking tweets about how Mbappe's a twat, basically. So it's an interesting one to really look at. Like, what would you do with Mbappe? Is it the right decision? Is it the wrong decision? A lot of people saying Mbappe won't be a good signing, he'd want to leave. I feel like Mbappe would sign, we'd have 2 bad games and he'd want out of the club. I don't think Mbappe has the mentality to deal with United. And the reason I'm saying that is because at United, you know, you could win 3 games in a row and then we'll get back 4-0. And Mbappe will be the type of guy that I've just played for a team that lost 4-0. I want to leave. They're not good enough. I mean, the thing is mad is like Mbappe should have just gone to Real Madrid on a free. That's really what he should have done. And obviously he didn't because, you know, money. But yeah, it's an interesting one with Mbappe and, you know, all the power and all of that as well. Look, I don't think United would get Mbappe. I don't know even if Ten Hag would want Mbappe, which sounds quite crazy saying that. I don't see Mbappe as an ERIK Ten Hag kind of player. But I thought we will touch on that and talk about that in this video as well. Saeed says Mbappe might be a good player, but he's an egotistical player, and already United has too many egos. I'd rather go for Gakpo and a right back next season. And to be fair, I do feel like that as well. And Mbappe could land 15, 20 goals. I'd expect that as well. And maybe money and Ronaldo to PSG would work for Mbappe. Ronaldo and Messi both at PSG is probably what they'd like. But I believe realistically, Mbappe won't go to United because, as Top says, the Glazers will not spend 200 million. And someone put out a very good tweet. They said, Alice, they said, look, if we're not going to spend 40 million on CODY Gakpo, who's Ten Hag's #1 target in January, do you expect the Glazers to spend 200 million on Mbappe? And you're absolutely right. Mbappe feels like a Liverpool player. I don't think he'll go to Liverpool because they're a mess at the moment. If he does go to Liverpool, I think he fucking hate it as well. And Mbappe's mentality does not match the English mentality. And Ronaldo will not tolerate Mbappe's mentality. I'm sure you guys have been reading into all of the Mbappe mentality news. That guy, that contract was the worst thing they did, PSG. I always said that contract was a bad idea. Like, to give him that much money, I always thought it was a bad idea, like even giving out the contract. Like, I just thought, fucking hell, like, what PSG doing? But that's like the thinking of the Glazers, but actually wanting the club to succeed. I always see PSG's owners as they think like the Glazers, but like in terms of actual intelligence, but they actually want to spend money in their club to succeed. And I think that's something the Glazers would do. They would probably give a player at United so much power, so much money if they were willing to actually give money to the club and create all these problems. And it was a very low IQ move by PSG. And I think everyone just thought, with him literally being owner, the fuel to Mbappe's ego, I think everyone just sat there and thought, this is going to cause so many problems, like absolutely craziness. But let's get on with the show. Let's get on with some other stories as well. A lot of people saying Mbappe won't match it. But let's go for 100 likes, guys. So make sure you smash that like button. Let me know what the stream quality's like and all of that. So, guys, if you're not aware, the Financial Times has said that Jim Ratcliffe will be on their thing tonight, and he will be speaking about the takeover of Chelsea and Manchester United. My Twitter's absolutely frozen here. So let me try and see if I can find the actual graphic for it as well. But obviously, Fabrizio Romano did speak about Kylian Mbappe not happy at PSG. He wants to leave the club as soon as possible. PSG really putting pressure on Paris Saint-Germain, feel like he's putting pressure on them to sell him in January. So Mbappe reportedly really, according to Romano, really putting the pressure on there, which is crazy as well. But I mean, look, Mbappe's not going to come to United realistically. I mean, anything's possible in football. But I'm going to see if I can find the report here. So this is one of the things that Jim Ratcliffe is going to be asked about today in the interview on the Times. He's going to be asked about Manchester United, Chelsea, and what his next acquisition targets. Jim Ratcliffe is going to be asked about this later, and I am going to do a video touching on this and touching on this topic. So let's get into the other news. Let's get into the Gakpo news. Let's go in. We've got a few things to talk about in today's video as well. There's obviously Maguire news. There's obviously the Mbappe causing dressing room problem news and all of that. But the main report is that Jim Ratcliffe is set to address the rumours about him potentially buying Manchester United tonight in a talk with the Financial Times. And Romano actually came out today and spoke about Gakpo What I will do is there will be a video tonight or tomorrow on what Jim says about the United takeover. Be interesting to see, because I do think if Jim says something quite positive about him taking over United, the Glazers could spend it in January to potentially stop it, but potentially stop a protest, because obviously the Glazers do not want anything to happen in January. But the news coming out is transfer news coming out is Manchester United summer target CODY Gakpo does not want to join Leeds, and a winter move to United could take place. There are reports that CODY Gakpo winter move to United could take place, as he does not want to join Leeds. Why would Jim Ratcliffe talk about Chelsea? Because he was also linked there as well, but he obviously is no longer going to Chelsea. So that was the first report. And then it was also said by Fabrizio Romano that came out, and he spoke about CODY Gakpo, and Romano completely confirmed that CODY Gakpo still has a good relationship with Manchester United. His agents still have a good relationship with United, which makes sense because CODY Gakpo and ERIK Ten Hag guys share the same agent. So a deal for CODY Gakpo is really easy in the sense of CODY Gakpo wants to come to United, Ten Hag wants CODY Gakpo. CODY Gakpo's agents are the same as Ten Hag, so there's a good relationship all round with them in terms of contact. And obviously the situation that, PSV will let CODY Gakpo leave in January. So there's loads of strong indications that CODY Gakpo could go to United. The only thing stopping, I'm telling you this now, the only thing stopping CODY Gakpo to United in January is the Glazers. Will they spend 30 million on the next up-and-coming star or not? Now, you think any ambitious football club will see CODY Gakpo, Ten Hag, two players dying for this move to happen. Any ambitious club would let this happen. They would get CODY back for 30 million, they think fucking steal. Especially with the World Cup, especially with the amount of games coming up, especially with depth being so important. Anyone would just look at this and go, this is a fucking steal. And, your Real Madrid's are looking at it now. We were linked to them first, but your Real Madrid and your Arsenals are seriously looking at this now. Seriously looking at this now. And Fabrizio Romano said that the relationship between CODY Gakpo's agents and Manchester United is excellent. Same agents as Ten Hag, never a negotiation or official bid with PSG. So it is still at early stages, but let's see what happens in January. And Romano saying with Gakpo, good relationship. Romano said that Gakpo would like to leave, PSV would let him go. ERIK Ten Hag wants Gakpo. So Romano saying we just have to wait and see what happens in January, because Romano knows again that this move is basically reliant on, are the board going to spend the money or not? Will the Manchester United board hurry up and spend a bit of money, or the United board going to go back to classic Manchester United board and be like, la-di-la-di-la-di-la, we're not spending money in January. Oh, Casado 5 million, you can go to Brighton. Alvarez 17 million, you can go to Man City. Haaland 20 million, you can go to Dortmund. And not thinking about the amount of January targets they've missed out on because they won't spend in January. And if I am Ten Hag, I would sit down to the board and say, you missed this, and this player for a good price because you wouldn't spend in January. 30 million, CODY Gakpo, good price. He wants move, I want move. Relationship with agents done, spend the money. And for me, I think the only way they spend is if Jim Ratcliffe puts the pressure on, or if there's a major injury, because I get the impression from what Mertens said, what the board said, they do not want to spend in January. They want to wait till the summer. It's our owners, of course they don't want to spend money. Of course they do anything not to spend money. But Fabrizio Romano has confirmed that it's a positive relationship, very good relationship going on, very positive relationship. He did say the relationship is excellent. We share agents, and he just says keep an eye in January. If we're going to sign anyone, I get the impression it would be CODY Gakpo, not Mbappe, just to let some of you guys know as well. A lot of people saying they wouldn't want Mbappe at Manchester United. I don't think Mbappe would come, but potentially Gakpo, yeah. I think Gakpo is a lot more realistic than Kylian Mbappe at Manchester United, without a doubt, guys. Should we get into a few more stories as well? Man United's next game is Newcastle. You know what? I actually want to get this up on my screen. A little bit unrelated to what we're talking about, but these are our next 4 games. So we've got Ammonia, which was fine. I expect people like Alanga to maybe play against Ammonia. I expect it to be a slight. I hope Eriksen's rested. I'll be really pissed off if Ten Hag plays Eriksen against Ammonia. The guy needs a fucking rest, because Newcastle 2:00 Sunday is a tough game. So we've got 3 home games in a row. Just in that, but we've got Newcastle at 2:00 on Sunday, and if I'm being honest, that's a tough game. And then after Newcastle on the Wednesday, this time next week, well, a week and a day, we've got Tottenham Hotspur. We've got Tottenham. And then next Saturday, we've got Chelsea. So we've got Newcastle, Tottenham, and Chelsea as our next 3 games. Then we've got Sheriff, and then we've got West Ham, who's a tough team. So our next 4 Premier League games for October are very tough games, and I'm really hoping that the likes against Ammonia, that Ten Hag does rest your Eriksons and stuff, because we're going to need them fit for these games coming up. And I think for me, if we get, if we beat Newcastle and Tottenham but lose to Chelsea, I still think that's good. I think Chelsea are really looking good under Graham Potter. It's like they're having a new manager bounce already. They've been really surprisingly good. Tottenham are a bit hit and miss, but they play such negative football that it'll be interesting to see how we do against them, because when we play a Big Six side, we're normally the one playing the more negative football. And Newcastle will arguably be the biggest team out the top 6. And I think, United have got some very, very tough fixtures next. And I thought Everton was a tough game. They were like 5-6 games unbeaten, best defensive record in the league. But Newcastle, Tottenham, and Chelsea are going to be the test, because they are right now. They're your third, fourth, and fifth place sides. They are the sides that are almost in competition with you for that 4th spot. I think Newcastle won't get top 4, but I think they're probably the club that's going to push top 6 the most. They are potentially the players that are in competition the most with United for that 4th spot. So I think it's going to be a real big test, and I am a little bit nervous, but I hope versus Ammonia that, we do make a few changes. But we'll go back to Twitter. We'll go back to the news and all of that as well. I know Man City are playing in the Champions League against Copenhagen, but I do not want to see Manchester City win game after game after game. I don't even know what the score is. If someone wants to tell me what the Man City score is for the game, please do. But I have no interest in Manchester City, because they just make football so enjoyable, unenjoyable as a Manchester United fan. I don't like watching them win, if I'm being honest with you guys. But David said he thinks Newcastle will be one of our toughest games. I agree. Dubravka deserves a chance. Yeah, I think we might as well. I agree. I think we should potentially look at resting Fred, playing Fred, resting De Gea, giving a few players a chance versus Ammonia. You want to keep it semi-strong because you don't want to drop points, but I think it's a chance to rest a few players for Newcastle, for Spurs, because there's a lot of tough games coming up as well. Jason said Mbappe would never go Man United. Next move would be Real Madrid once he's milked PSG. I do agree with that as well. And yeah, 3 games can't really set the scene for top 4. It's difficult, but I do think these 3 games can really set the scene for top 4, as you said, David. I think they're 3 games that really shows the level that we're at, because they're the teams we're competing with for top 4 as well. People saying Chelsea will be the toughest. I have a feeling Newcastle could be the toughest in a weird way as well. And again, people put in the chat Gakpo or Mbappe. People still talking about it. But let's get into this next story. Let's get into the next transfer story regarding Manchester United. We've got one on Dalot leaving. We've got one on Mbappe coming in, which we will, you have to take with a massive pinch of salt. I'm not saying we're going to sign Mbappe. I don't expect Manchester United to sign Mbappe, but it is the news of the day. So obviously we are talking about it. But let's dive into some other stories, guys. Some actual real interesting stories going about. And this is a player that I won't lie, I'm not going to say I'm super familiar with this player, because I'm obviously not super familiar with the Rangers centre-back Leon King. But this has come from Fabrizio Romano. Fabrizio Romano is a very, very reliable source, very, very good source of information. And he says that Manchester United and Leeds have now sent scouts to monitor and track the progress of Rangers defender Leon King. Now, I know he played versus Liverpool in that game. That's the only time I've ever watched him play. But I believe he's born in 2004, which will make him 18. And you know what? United are quite short on centre-backs at the moment when you think about it. We've got Varane and Martinez. They're the first 2 centre-backs. Maguire's the 3rd choice centre-back. He's injured. He's not really playing. Lindelof's the 4th choice centre-back. Because obviously Varane and Maguire have been injured, it's like, if something happens to Lindelof or Martinez, we've now got to dive into Phil Jones or Tuanzebe. And there are rumours that Maguire wants to leave United in the summer. Maguire, for his own career, wants to get out of United, kind of let it go. If things don't change, and if Maguire cannot get back into the team over Varane, over Martinez, he's set to leave. And I can't see Maguire getting back in over Varane or over Martinez, because they're just so much better than him. And there are reports that Maguire could potentially leave the summer, with Ten Hag being fine letting Maguire leave. And, I still think that Jurriën Timber probably is the target, is the ideal one for Ten Hag. But, someone like the Rangers centre-back Leon King could be that young talent that, is part of Ten Hag's long-term rebuild. We know Ten Hag loves a young player, a young, talented player with a lot of potential. And someone like Leon King could be that. Like, I'm not going to act like I've watched this guy play loads. I don't know how good he is, but I do know that players like Van Dijk started their career in the Scottish League at a young age, moved to the Premier League, then from Southampton went to Liverpool. You know, a lot of hidden gems are in that Scottish league. I say that now. Rangers and Celtic got a lot of hidden gems. We were linked to Matt O'Reilly of Celtic as well. I think he's a hidden gem in there, and I think with Ten Hag, you know, when we get linked to these hidden young gems as centre backs and midfielders, you know it's true because Ten Hag wants a young squad. He wants these young up and coming players that he can nurture. He looks at a player and goes, "You're young. I can coach you. I can develop you into this kind of player." And this is probably the type of player Ten Hag wants. Obviously, Leeds and Newcastle are looking at him. We've obviously got scouts looking at him, but it has been confirmed by Romano that this is someone United are looking at. And why I think this is significant is that we get linked to every single player under the sun. But at least with Romano, when Romano says we're looking at a player, you know that United are generally interested. And we know from Fabrizio Romano that United are interested in Gakpo, they're interested in Bellingham, and they're interested in Frankie de Jong as of 2023. And now they're looking at potentially this Rangers centre-back, and that Ten Hag still has his mind on signing a right-back. Now, we know that confirmed from Fabrizio Romano, which for me is really good to know. In terms of transfer news, again, I think this will be a summer move. Again, as I've always said, guys, I think January is Gakpo or nothing. I think summer is when we maybe look at getting 3-4 players. My only fear for summer is it did come out basically saying that ERIK Ten Hag is not going to get loads of money in the summer, which really annoyed me. There was basically a report coming out saying that because ERIK Ten Hag overspent on Antony, the Glazers aren't going to spend much money this summer. And hopefully that report isn't true. But we'll have to wait and see. If I missed a super chat or not, I don't think I have. I thought I missed a super chat, but I did not. That's fine. But yeah, there's basically a report that United aren't going to spend much money next summer, which I do want to get into. The report basically said that because of the price of Antony, United will not be able to spend loads of money next summer because they overspent this summer, and that Ten Hag is going to have a cut price budget next summer because of Antony, la-di-la-di-la. And when this report came out, it really wound me up, guys, because I think the reason we overspent on Antony is because of our board. I've always said this. Why are we punishing Ten Hag this next season for Antony's price tag when we could have got Antony for half the price if our board was good at their job? But our board isn't good at their job. So it annoys me that they're going to punish Ten Hag for board incompetence. We would have saved 40 million if our board was competent. And the problem with the Glazers is they're all about saving money. They're all about how much money can we save? Glazeronomics, how much money can we save? And it's like, well, Glazeronomics, wake up. You know, if it's all about Glazeronomics and how much money you can save, maybe if you sacked the board, sacked Murta, sacked Arnold, got some proper footballing people in, you'd spend less money on transfers, but bring in better players and probably get more money from sales. But instead, you'll keep the same idiots on the board because you know they have the same motivation as you, financial success over footballing success, and you will punish Ten Hag next summer and say, no, sorry, we don't have a big budget next summer. We know Ten Hag wants Gakpo, we know he wants Bellingham, we know he wants Jurriën Timber, we know he wants a centre-back, and we know that Ten Hag potentially wants a goalkeeper. However, if De Gea plays the way he played versus Everton, he could be keeping his place. But basically, we want Bellingham, Gakpo, a long-term Ronaldo replacement, a right-back, and potentially a goalkeeper and potentially a centre-back. That's what Ten Hag wants. That's confirmed what Ten Hag will be wanting in 2023. But unfortunately, the chances of him getting that, I think, are quite slim as well. Now it's Mbappe. Imagine. Guys, we're on 76 likes. Let's go for 300 likes. So please do keep smashing that like button if you have not already. And of course, subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football if you're new. If you're new and you want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news, updates, and more, of course, subscribe. Messi ain't going from Neymar and Messi to Martial and Rashford. Come on, he's basically president of PSG. I never said Mbappe was coming to United. I just thought we'd talk about it because it's just a talking point. And Ten Hag didn't overspend, it was the board. And that was Ratcliffe's money we spent on Antony. I'm convinced. We wouldn't have brought Antony if it wasn't for Jim Ratcliffe. The crazy truth is, guys, generally, United only went out and brought Antony because Jim Ratcliffe went public and said he wants to buy United. And the Glazers sat there and the Glazers absolutely panicked their arse off. The Glazers were like, fuck, why is my doorbell ringing? We're going to have to ignore it. The Glazers were like, fuck, what's going on? What am I going to do? The protest is getting big. The protest is getting real big at Manchester United at the moment. You know, the Glazers were worried. They were going to get Rabiot, they were going to get Arnautovic. That's what the Glazers was going to do. And then they were like, Jim Ratcliffe wants United. We've lost 4-0 to Brentford. Everything's a shit show at United. Because everything was a shit show at United. Jim Ratcliffe, Brentford lost, all the news going about. Everything was a shit show. You know, Jim Ratcliffe wants the protest going up. That the Glazers were then like, fuck, we've got to spend money. So, and it's so obvious because if we wouldn't sign Antony for 50 million in June, why would we go in August, really last minute panic and spend 100 million on him? It's really obvious because the Glazers were panicking. The Glazers were like, shit, this protest is getting to us. Stuff is getting to us. The Glazers were full on panicking. And that is why it happened. That's why it went down. That's why we went from that's why we got Casemiro and Antony instead of Rabiot and Arnautovic. Because Man United were generally going to go out there and get Rabiot and Arnautovic and leave it and leave the summer at that. And here comes Jim Ratcliffe. Oh my God, we're going from Rabiot and Arnautovic to Casemiro and Antony. Like, talk about upgrade. That is a massive fucking upgrade. That is like upgrade times an absolute 100 as well. Ten Hag didn't overspend. It was the board exactly as well. And someone said another mystery football shirt at the box. Probably. And who's going to give Mbappe the ball? Wingers are useless. Will Mbappe give our wingers the ball, though? Mbappe don't like to pass. And Antony's been worth it so far. Plus, Ten Hag is demanding more from him, hoping he continues to smash them goals in. 100%. What I love about Antony is 3 goals in 3 Premier League games. And I spoke about this in yesterday's live stream, but I said confidence is so important. Like, you know, when you're £100 million signing, when you're a player that the price that Antony is, confidence is so important in a player like Antony because he's cost a lot of money. There's a lot of eyes on him. There's a lot of ears on him. There's a lot of people potentially doubting Antony, going, what have United spent all this money on? And if Antony had gone 5-6 games without scoring a goal for United, you would notice that he wouldn't be as good. I always feel, and I say this with those big money signings, Sancho, Antony, if they hit the ground running from the beginning, they will be good season 1. But if their first 2 games they don't score a goal, generally they might have a bad season because it's a lot of pressure. It's a psychological pressure. And Bruno Fernandes even spoke about this. He said, you know, the psychological side of football really affects us players, he said, because when you start losing, when you start missing a few passes, you lack confidence and belief. So when you pass, you're already worried you're going to lose the ball because you've got no confidence. So then when you're more likely to lose the ball when you lack confidence. You know, Bruno came out and he spoke about this whole psychological side of, you know, lack of confidence at United, how it really affects the players, how it really affects the team. And I think Antony scoring 3 goals in 3 games against 3 very good teams in the Premier League, that's going to give Antony confidence to kick on. But let's say Antony, 3 games in, hadn't scored any of those goals, hadn't got a goal or assist yet, even though it'd be 3 games. The sad truth is, if Antony hadn't scored 3 goals, the media would be on him like mad. Generally, the sad truth is, if he didn't score those 3 goals, the media would have been like, he's shit, he's bad, he's a flop already. After 3 games, the British media is toxic because they judged Sancho, they judged Antony, they will judge all these Manchester United players after 3 games. And they would have been saying Antony's crap, Antony's rubbish, 100 million, what United doing? They would have been going in on Antony. That's what the Glazers, not the Glazers, that's what the media would have been doing. And that's the same with Lisandro Martinez. I mean, Lisandro Martinez, before he'd even played a game for United, the media was saying he won't make it, he's 5'9", he's crap. We lose our first 2 games of the season, they're saying that Lisandro Martinez is shit, writing him off. Lisandro Martinez has been a fucking tank, and they would have done the same with Antony. And I just love that Antony has 3 goals in 3 games because I just know that Antony's confident. I just know every game Antony's got that confidence in him. He's raring to go. And, you know, I think we've got a problem with Sancho lacking confidence. Sancho doesn't look confident. And we're going to talk about what Rio Ferdinand said on Jadon Sancho in a minute. But, you know, Sancho's really lacking that confidence, whereas, you know, Antony isn't. And confidence is such a big thing. And I just think Antony, he's going to have a good first season because just scoring those first 3 goals as well. Donny seems to be forgotten. I will say Donny is injured. To be fair, Arnautovic has 6 goals in 9 games. He does, to be fair. Arnautovic hasn't actually been that bad, but it's crazy. But imagine if we'd assigned Rabiot and Arnautovic. It'd be absolutely crazy. Is Sergeant Ratcliffe's stream now? I don't know if it is. I'm gonna tune into Sergeant Ratcliffe's stream after and make a video on it for tomorrow morning. But is Sergeant Ratcliffe's stream actually now? Because I only know a small bit of it's about United, so I wasn't going to watch the whole thing as well. Talented Mbappe's up his own arse. Absolutely agree. So let's get into the next story. I want to actually have a conversation with you guys and get your guys' opinion on this. But Rio Ferdinand's come out and spoken about Jadon Sancho. I don't think Jadon Sancho's been poor. That's the thing. I think Jadon Sancho's had some good games and some poor games this season. But if I was to really describe Jadon Sancho this season, I'd say mediocre. People are acting like Jadon Sancho's been shocking this season. He's had some good games. He was good versus Sheriff. He was good versus Liverpool. He was good versus Arsenal. I don't think he's been poor. I thought he was just very poor against Ammonia, and he was very poor against Man City. I think he's had 2 poor games in a row, but I don't think Jadon Sancho's had a bad season. We were saying in the international break just 3-4 weeks ago, Sancho deserves to be there because Sancho started the season well. And all of a sudden, people are saying, sell Sancho. Like, I'm not even lying. All of a sudden, people are coming out saying, sell Jadon Sancho, he's not good enough. And I'm thinking a month ago, we're saying he should be in the England squad because he's had a really good month at United. He has 2 shit games, and people are like, yeah, no, sell Sancho, he's not good enough. Talk about Sancho. With Sancho, there's a lack of confidence. Anyone can see there's a lack of confidence there with Jadon Sancho. But when I look at Jadon Sancho, do I see a bad player? No. When I look at Jadon Sancho, I see a player that sometimes is good, sometimes is bad, needs to find consistency, lacking confidence, but also needs to be playing possession football. He's not a counter-attacking player, he doesn't have the pace. It's not Jadon Sancho's fault he's playing bad. I generally believe if Jadon Sancho was at Man City, he'd be playing well right now. If he was at Arsenal, he'd be playing well right now. But it's the way we're playing. We're not quite playing possession football yet. And I think I'd like to see Jadon Sancho play with Casemiro, where we could dominate possession in a game where he's confident and raring to go. And I think we will see that soon. But Rio Ferdinand said, look, we haven't seen the Bundesliga Sancho yet, and that worries me the most. His stats in Germany were great. He was doing wonderful things, but he hasn't shown it in the Premier League yet, and I don't know why. And he's showing glimpses of it in the Premier League. So I agree with Rio Ferdinand in that sense, but he hasn't shown it regularly in the Premier League, I guess is what Rio Ferdinand's on about, and he's not completely wrong. But Rio Ferdinand's obviously very concerned about it, and he then followed it up by saying this, which I'm going to get on the screen now, which is what Rio said. He said, what's the reason? Is it because of the organisation of the team, the pace of the Premier League? Is he being asked to be more defensive? So he doesn't have the energy needed for the ball in transition. Like, what is it that's wrong with Jadon Sancho? Why is he not quite at it? And I've always said, I think he doesn't quite have that pace, and I think I'd like to see him try centrally. But I think, with Sancho, I think if we're playing possession-dominated football, Sancho on the right, Rashford on the left, Martial up top, with Casemiro in there, and we're playing possession-dominated football, I think he will be all right. But I think with Jadon Sancho, he was a system player at Dortmund. He's used to playing in a modern attacking system. And I have a feeling that the better Man United play, the better Sancho will play. I think he's a team player, not an individual player. And you need individual and team players in every team. But you look at United when we came second under Rolly, we weren't a team when we came second under Rolly. We were a team of individuals. It was, Rashford bailing us out, Bruno bailing us out, Greenwood bailing us out, Martial bailing us out, Cavani bailing us out so many times. And we were Moments FC. We came second under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But everyone can admit we were 100% Moment FC that season. We were relying on moments, absolute moments to get through that season. We won the game on moments. We weren't playing as a team. We weren't dominating. We weren't controlling possession. It was very unsustainable. And, United have individuals that can be that moment and shine like Bruno and Rashford. But Sancho's always been a product of a team, a system player, a bit like Foden. Foden's crap for England because the way Southgate plays is very defensive, very negative, very counter-attacking. So I always find that Phil Foden's pretty shit for England, but he's insane for City because he's used to this City system, this team system. Everyone has the part. All the players around him are good and he excels. And Sancho, for me, reminds me of Foden, where he'll be shit in a system like Southgate's, like Ollie's, where it's, you've got to, as a player, you've got to create a moment of something. You don't have that blistering place. You're a system player, a techie player, intelligent player. But if Sancho was playing for City right now, I'm sure he'd be brilliant because he'd be linking up with everyone. Once he got his confidence, he'd be playing. Because when you look at Sancho, you go, there's a highly intelligent player in there with bags of skill, bags of ability. But when, he's one of like the highest IQ, technically gifted players out there. But he doesn't have that blistering place or that boost in him like Rashford and Bruno have. So I think for me with Sancho, I think like longer term, he will be good and he will improve. I think he's lacking confidence. I go back to the Ammonia game. Why is he passing it back to Milacic from there anyway? He should be taking on his man. Les said it, and there was a clip of Les saying this. He said, when Rashford has a bad game, it's all over Twitter because when Rashford has a bad game, it's because he's given the ball away 5-6 times. But he said Rashford, when he has a bad game, he's always trying to take on his man. He's always trying to make something happen. Sancho, when he has a bad game, it's a lot quieter because Sancho doesn't run at players, doesn't take out his man. He just kind of is there and does nothing. And he said, we need to see Sancho taking on players. We need to see a confident Sancho. And he's not been that confident Sancho since he's come to United. And I do think it's a mixture of the way we're playing, but also confidence with Sancho. Is Juventus actually losing 2-0? That team is in the absolute mud. Can't wait for the Ratcliffe interview. We'll be discussing that in tomorrow morning's video, so make sure you're subscribed, guys. Also, guys, I do want to throw out, I am only 10, sorry, now 12, because 2 people are fucking unsubscribed. Just refreshed. Brilliant. I am 12 subscribers away from 51.2k. So please do subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football if you're new. I go live every single evening on the channel, keeping you guys up to date with all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news, updates, and more. So do subscribe. But let's continue into stories. What obviously Rio Ferdinand's coming out and saying, Big G says Sancho is too nice. He needs to demand the ball more and tactics more geared towards him as an individual. Sancho's a team player, but yeah, and Big G said that Sancho needs 2 things: a proper number 9, a creative midfielder that can pass in the ball. Eriksen plays on the opposite side, unfortunately. I wish Bruno would step up. Sancho needs to be in a team system, and I think Sancho long term, he's only 22. I think to be writing off Jadon Sancho when he had the first month of the season, he was quite good. The last 2 games, he's been poor as silly. He's only 22. We've seen what he's done at Dortmund. He's a team player. He needs confidence. He needs to play in a more positive system, and I'm sure he will come back. Sancho will come back like Luke Shaw. We might even see a change in Maguire. I agree. Maguire could have a really good second half of the season. You never know. I don't see him getting in over Varane or Martinez, but Varane will probably get injured. Maguire will have to play, and he could be really good with this kick up the arse. Luke Shaw was absolutely fantastic. We can all sit there and admit Luke Shaw was very, very impressive for me and probably for you guys at the weekend versus Everton. And I said this yesterday. When watching Luke Shaw play, you could literally see this is a player that knows this is his only chance to impress. This is a player that knows he's got 1 game to prove to Ten Hag he should keep his place, or Malacia is coming back in the team. And that's what we saw in Luke Shaw's performance. We saw he knows he's got to play well. He knows he's got to perform, because he knows if he doesn't, he's out the team. And I love how Ten Hag has created that kind of competition in the United squad. And, you know, maybe Sancho will see the Rashford taking his place and Anthony coming in as, fuck, I've got to do well. I don't know. I just hope with Sancho, it is confidence. But Rio Ferdinand also spoke about Casemiro. Talking more positively, we've spoken about Sancho. Rio Ferdinand, well, it doesn't want to come up on my screen, did speak about Casemiro. And Rio Ferdinand said on Casemiro, he's the only player, the only midfielder in our team who instinctively knows how to defend, who wants to defend, knows the ball. He's the answer to everything, but he's going to give us stability we haven't had in years. Let's talk about Rio Ferdinand's comments on Casemiro. We saw versus Everton a player we hadn't seen in a while at United, a player that kept winning those balls back, kept winning possession back, was protecting the defence. He gave the ball away a bit sloppily. There was times where you could see Casemiro's quite not used to the Premier League, not quite up to date with the Premier League, but there was bits and aspects of Casemiro that we saw that was so positive, like at United. And Rio Ferdinand's coming out saying, you know, he's a player that just instinctively knows how to defend. He's got it in him. And he's going to protect that defence, but also transition the ball to the attack, which is what we need. Imagine if we'd assigned Frankie de Jong. Imagine Frankie de Jong and Casemiro in the midfield. It would have been absolutely unstoppable. But as Rio said, you know, Casemiro is going to give us that stability we haven't had in years. We've gone from McFred every single fucking week to Casemiro and Eriksen. That is a massive upgrade. And, you know, you can see it in the way versus Everton. And do not write off Everton. They were 6 games unbeaten, best defensive record in the league. And we made them look shite. And you look at Casemiro, the way he dominated the ball, the way we control possession, 70% possession in the first half. And you look at that first half and you go, we're controlling games. I can't remember the last time United controlled a game, because we did get brilliant wins versus Arsenal, versus Liverpool, and we were the better team, but we're on the counter and we took our chances better, but we weren't the team dominant possession, we weren't controlling games. And we saw today with Casemiro, we saw versus Everton with Casemiro. This is what Ten Hag wants to do, long-term aspects of this. And I think the more and more Casemiro plays, the better and better he's going to get. The more use the league he's going to get. The more goals Anthony scores, the better he's going to get. He's shining with confidence. Lisandro Martinez and Varane already look like a pairing made in heaven. Dalot's improving. Malacia, Luke Shaw, the competition there is going to bring out the best of them. Rashford's got his confidence back in his scoring. Martial, when he's fit, you know, Martial's got a better goals and assists per minute ratio than Haaland when he's fit. So it's absolutely crazy at the moment. But you can see that the team is really starting to take place. And people might think I'm waffling here and going off in a tandem, but the point I want to get into is, do not doubt Ten Hag. Do not turn on Ten Hag, because we might come 6th or 7th this season. But I see aspects of so many different players at Manchester United growing. So many different players at Man United really having a positive impact on the team. But I also see potential in a lot of our players. I look at the team right now, I look at who's playing, and I see like aspects of potential, and I see what Ten Hag's trying to do long term. I know Ten Hag's not playing the style of football he wants to play right now. I know Ten Hag's playing a more defensive style of football to try and get results with this team, try and slide through results with this team. But I look at Man United and I go, I do see what Ten Hag's trying to do. I do see what Ten Hag wants to do with this squad, and I do see that there's players improving at United. I see a squad togetherness. I see more squad morale. You look at Ronaldo's 700 goals. I mean, let me get this on the screen. Let me go Ronaldo 700. I'm sure it will come up. But we already see it United, and it's obviously very, very early days. I'll see if the picture will come up here that I want to get you guys. It probably won't now. Of course, it's not coming up. But let me show you. Let me just show you these pictures anyway. United plug tweet, good stuff. Let me show you this here. Like you just looking at United, you can see there's already an improvement in squad morale. Like in training, everyone's looking happy. If we zoom out once, you can see more. Like there's definitely like youngsters in training. Eriksen smiling. Casemiro and Antony, the Brazilian duo, getting on training. But what we see at United is everyone seems to be happy on training off the field. On the field at United right now, we see a team that is starting to play together, starting to work hard together, starting to fight together. We see individual players improving, McTominay, Dalot. We see a better mentality and body language and belief on the pitch. We actually won, even though going 1-0 down in the last two games, we won them both. We saw a response to the Man City defeat. We see Antony playing his heart out. We see Rashford playing with confidence. We see Dalot being better. The Luke Shaw, Malacia competition. The defence working hard, solid. We see a team smiling that look happy to be on the pitch playing for United. We also see a team playing together, everybody doing their roles. They're either all shit or they're all good. It's not like we're saying, oh, that person was good and everyone else was shit. It's like, okay, this team is playing as a team. It's not Moments FC. It's a team. They're playing together. They like each other. And I look at United, and my overall point is I see what Ten Hag's building. And I'm saying it's not going to be perfect this season. We've got tough games. We're still a long way off. We might come 5th or 6th. But we've got to accept that. But I see Ten Hag's how I saw Arteta a few years ago. I said, I actually see, Arteta dropping Pepe for Saka. I said, I see a player in Saka. Arteta, bringing in Martinelli instead of Aubameyang. I see a player in Martinelli. And it's really working out for Arteta now in Arsenal and this young squad they're building, this attacking philosophy. And what I saw in Arteta a few years ago, as I said yesterday, I do see in Ten Hag. I see this potential in the squad. I see what Ten Hag wants to do. I see these young players that could come through. I see Ten Hag's philosophy. I see how Ten Hag's changing the mentality of United. And I just go, all Ten Hag needs is that ball to continue investing in him and not throw him under the bus. Get him Gakpo in January. Get him who he wants in the summer. Get him who he wants, because for me, if the ball backs Ten Hag, bring in who he wants and actually spend the money and the Glazers do their bit, I really see something in Ten Hag. I really see that Ten Hag's capable of doing something. And that's my point. And support Erik Ten Hag fully, but please do not make any delusional comparisons between United and City players. No, we're nowhere near City. But what I'm saying is I do see potential in United as well. And I was watching a video made earlier today, and you were right when you said players had to hash it out with each other and find a way to sort it out. Exactly. Ten Hag's encouraging the environment of Man United that they actually hash it out at each other, hash out their opinions, rather than saying it behind their back and leaking stuff, and get over it together as well. Guys, please keep smashing the like button, and of course subscribe down below if you're new. VXSU says Casemiro's levels above McTominay. It's crazy that he was playing in front of Casemiro. If we can buy Tielemans, Bellingham, De Jong with Phil, that would be world class. Well, United's 2 targets to go next to Casemiro is Bellingham and, of course, Frankie De Jong. Michael said Ten Hag didn't buy Sancho. If he doesn't fit into Ten Hag's style of play, bye-bye. Brutal there from you as well. And I think Maguire has a good World Cup. It will help boost his confidence. I can see Maguire having a good World Cup. To be fair, actually, I can see England having a shit World Cup because Southgate is crap. But, we're trying to be positive as well. As Daniel says, smash the like button, guys, if you have not already. And, of course, subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football if you're new. We are 9 subscribers away from 51.9k. We've got 300 people watching. Only 9 of you need to subscribe to hit 51.3k. And I'm sure 9 of you watching aren't subscribed. So please do go ahead and subscribe to Alice Talks Football if you're not already subscribed. It would mean a lot as well. So please do that. So, yeah, let's get into the next point. I could see a partnership between Luke Shaw and Martinez. If Martinez can find Luke Shaw's runs with his great passing ability, I think it would be brilliant as well. But obviously getting back into United mentality, getting back into positivity, because we're trying to be positive about United. Again, the Sandro Martinez smiling and training. Again, Ronaldo and De Gea making it in Team of the Week. Do not know how Casemiro didn't make it in there, but Bruno Guimaraes was fucking sick at the weekend. He's a baller. Obviously, getting into what was said, but this is obviously Ronaldo's 700 goals party. This is what we spoke about earlier, and all the United players are there basically, bar one or two, obviously, that basically celebrating that Ronaldo scored 700 goals. Good to see Donny back in training. What I like about this is, like, this is a picture of them all happy Ronaldo scored 700 goals. And this picture says a lot. You know the saying, oh, a picture says 1,000 words crap. It does. This does, because Duncan Castles and all these journalists coming out saying, everyone hates Ronaldo. He eats lunch alone at Carrington. Ronaldo's a distraction. Ronaldo fights with Ten Hag. Ronaldo argues with Ten Hag. Ronaldo's done this. Ronaldo's done that. The players don't like Ronaldo. Ronaldo's hates United. Ronaldo's causing problems. Ronaldo's doubting things. We already know that the leaks aren't true, because Ten Hag will come out and say Ronaldo's nothing but professional, always gives 100%. He might be unhappy, but he's never caused me an issue. So, why is Duncan Castle saying Ronaldo's causing Ten Hag an issue? Every Man United player from Elanga, Delot, McTominay, Lindelof, Rashford's always come out and said that Ronaldo, who doesn't think he's bigger than anyone else at the club. And this was a really big thing. And I think it might have even been Matic that said it. Or no, it was Tom Eaton that said it. Ronaldo doesn't think he's bigger than anyone else at the club. It doesn't matter who you are. Ronaldo will talk to you, make an effort to talk to you, and then make sure you're included. Ronaldo's doing things like making sure his teammates feel included at United. Apparently if Ronaldo sees a youngster on their own, he goes and chats to them and makes sure they're included with the first team. Like, people are saying that Ronaldo will literally go and help anyone, talk to anyone, wants to make sure everyone's included. He's not like an Mbappe where he thinks he's the main man and he's not the main man. Ronaldo doesn't care about being the main man in the dressing room. He doesn't care about any of that. All we're hearing is that Ronaldo's 100% professional. He's happy at United. He's smiling in United training. He's nothing of what the media are making out, and the squad love him, and they've done a 700 goals party for him. And I'll see if I can find the picture for you guys, and if I can find it, Ronaldo smiling, because I saw it on Twitter not that long ago. But look, he's smiling at 10. He's smiling there, but there was a picture of Ronaldo in training looking absolutely happy. And look, if you actually type in Ronaldo smiling, there's a fair few things that do come up. These were the training pictures from United, and I think there is one of Ronaldo fucking about with Delot, happy in training. The United players look happy in training. There's all these reports that United players are unhappy, but look at Ronaldo there in the centre of these pictures, happy in training. This is literally Ronaldo laughing in training. Ronaldo, Casemiro, Ronaldo laughing in training. And, I'm hearing from your Romanos, your reliable journalists, that everyone loves Ronaldo in training. Ronaldo's always smiling in training, always giving 100%, always professional. It is true that Ronaldo's annoyed that he's on the bench, and Ronaldo wants to be playing week in, week out for United. Of course he's going to be pissed off. And Ten Hag said that, of course Ronaldo will be pissed off. A player like Ronaldo wants to be playing week in, week out for United. But, whenever we see Ronaldo in training, he's best friends with Delot, Casemiro and Varane. He's always laughing. He gets on with everyone. He enjoys training. He enjoys being at United. He didn't get his move in the summer, but Ronaldo's not, using the fact that he didn't get his move in the summer to be pissed off at United or change his mood towards United. Ronaldo's just happy in training, gives 100% professional, and is joking around with everyone. But, Duncan Castles is going to write that Ronaldo challenges Ten Hag, and everyone thinks he's a spoiled twat in training. And apparently, according to leaks, the Man United squad think they'd be a better place without Ronaldo. But everything I'm seeing and hearing directly from the Man United squad or directly from United itself is the opposite of these leaks. And I always say these leaks, I tell you what, the Glazers are the root of these leaks, because the Glazers want to turn the fan base on Ronaldo, because the Glazers need a new villain. Ollie was the villain for a point where everyone was Ollie out. And then everyone was players out because we were just so awful last season. Ten Hag's come in. No one's going to be Ten Hag out. People are players out, but no one's going to particularly turn on one player. And the Glazers know that everyone's united on Glazers out right now at United. If we start losing, you might get 1 or 2, 3 people say, oh, it's Ronaldo's fault we're losing. We should have sold Ronaldo. A few idiots. But if we start losing and start playing poor, we'll all say it's because the Glazers need to do this and that, and the Glazers need to go. Whereas in the past when we were losing, it's Ollie out, Ollie out, Ollie out, all the attention on Ollie out. And the past when we were losing, all the attention was on the players. If United start playing shit and United start losing, all the attention is going to be on the Glazers, because the fan base is united on one thing right now, getting the fucking Glazers out. And I think a lot of these stories are media twisting things by the Glazers to try and get some negative attention on Ronaldo, to try and make people turn on Ronaldo rather than turn on the Glazers when things get bad. as well. The real twat are the leakers and journalists, exactly. And whenever I always report on the leaks on my channel, and I always talk about the leaks on my channel, but I always say with the leaks, take them with a pinch of salt, and I always give my thought on the leaks. And when I spoke about the leaks the other day about Ronaldo, I always said, guys, I don't think these are true. Ronaldo articles is to drive traffic to their website. Being controversial as always because negativity news sells, which is annoying. You know, I'm trying to make this channel as positive as I can. Whenever we win, I'm milking it, saying United are going to win the league and everything. And I love being able to talk about negative news on the channel. But it's a sad thing where, you know, negativity gets clicks in the media, and a lot of them will just be negative and like negativity for clicks, and it's crazy as well. And as Diego said, that's a great point. The leaks are a deflection on the owners to get, you know, exactly. I think it's generally the owners probably pushing the media to get a deflection away from them as well. Ten Hag needs to smile more. What a contrast to Ollie. Honestly, I tell you what, I actually liked how Ollie always smiled, but you don't see Ten Hag smiling. We scored a goal versus Everton. We made it 1-0, and Ten Hag was like, "No, I'm still pissed off. I'm still pissed off. You went 1-0 down." And to be fair with Ten Hag, everything I hear about Ten Hag, you just know is true. When Ten Hag first came in, we heard that Ten Hag was a perfectionist. Good isn't good enough for Ten Hag. You've got to be 99% isn't good enough for Ten Hag. You've got to be 100%. Good isn't good enough for Ten Hag. You've got to be 100%. Under Ollie, we play shit, we win a game. Ollie be smiling. Well done, boys. This is brilliant, boys. You're brilliant, boys. Whereas Ten Hag is like, yeah, we won the game 2-1, but I want to be winning this game 5-1, 6-1. You missed that chance. You missed that pass. Difference between Ten Hag and Ollie is Ollie will be going, big up, lads, big up, boys, probably kissing all arse in dressing room after a 2-1 win against Everton. Ten Hag would be saying, you fucked up that pass. You gave that ball away. You did that. He'd be saying, good win, but not good enough. Should have been 3-1. Should have been 4-1. You should have done that. Why didn't you do that? Picking out things. And as Ronaldo said, and as everyone says in football, the way you improve is criticism. You know, if you want to be the best, if you want to be the best of the best, if you want to get to the top, if you want to win the Premier League, a 2-1 wasn't good enough. You've got to strive for a 4-1 win. You always got to strive to do better. When you win a game, you can't just settle and go, we won 2-1, that's perfect, that's not change anything. You've got to go, yeah, we won 2-1, but I did that and that. I missed that pass. I missed that. Let's look at my stats. How could I have made my performance better? I put in a 9 out of 10, but how could that performance been a 10 out of 10? And that's what separates top 4 from title-winning teams. Being happy with the win or actually saying, I want more. And what I like about Casemiro, and obviously we know Casemiro is a player that's won 4 Champions League. We know Casemiro is an absolute elite player. But what I like and pick out from Casemiro is the report that I got into yesterday, and I can get it on the screen if you want, that Laurie Whitwell said that Casemiro is always looking at his stats after the match. Casemiro is always wanting to do better. You know, and Casemiro's won it all. Ronaldo's won it all. You know, and if you actually look at things about Casemiro and Ronaldo and the 2 players at United that have absolutely won it all, they're the type of players where they'll be putting in a 9 out of 10, but they'll be annoyed that they've missed that one pass, or they've done this one thing wrong here, and they've done this one thing wrong here, and they want to make it even better. As it's said by Laurie Whitwell, Casemiro's keen interest on getting his stats sense after game. He wants to look at, you know, recoveries, pass accuracy, short passes, long passes, area covered, apparently even pressing. You know, he's a perfectionist. You know, Casemiro's a perfectionist at United, and that's what Ten Hag is, and that's why Ten Hag loves Casemiro, because it's about, yeah, we won the game, but let's win that game 4-5-1. You know, what separates top 4 from winners? 2-1 wins good, but how can we do better? What did we do wrong? And, you know, the most elite footballers with the most elite mentalities are your Casemiros, the Ronaldos, where they win a game 2-1 and they score a goal, but they still criticize their performance. They say, I did well, but I'm an 8 out of 10. I wasn't a 10 out of 10. And they strive to be a 10 out of 10, not an 8 out of 10 every week. And that's what Ten Hag wants. You know, he's not smiling like Ollie after every win. We made it 1-0 versus Everton. Ten Hag still looks miserable because, yeah, 1-0 versus Everton, that's not good enough. 2-1, that's all right. But we dropped off the last 10 minutes. You know, Ten Hag said the first half was brilliant. We got back into it. Ten Hag spoke about the positives versus Everton. We got back into it. The first half was brilliant. La-di-la-di-la. Ten Hag said he's happy how his team responded to Everton. La-di-la-di-da. But then he goes, yeah, we won the game, but that last 20 minutes wasn't good enough. And I like that with him. Big up CR700 as well. As Daniel said, Ronaldo gets such bad press. It's laughable. Honestly, it is. I do feel sorry for Ronaldo and the negative press he gets. And rather Gakpo, Bellingham, or De Jong. All 3 would be absolutely brilliant as well. Guys, make sure you subscribe to Alice Talk Football down below if you're not already subscribed. We are 8 subscribers away from 51.2k. So 51.9k. So if you have not subscribed, please do click that subscribe button. It would mean the world to me if you did subscribe to the channel. So close to 52k, 108 subscribers away from 52k, 8 subscribers away from 51.9k. So please do subscribe as well. And Ten Hag needs to smile more as we were speaking about. But let's get right down. What is the Ratcliffe update? I'm not sure because I've not watched it yet. It's the Ratcliffe update is that Ratcliffe is giving an interview tonight about United, where he stands on buying United, and the interview is probably going on around now that Ratcliffe is giving. And tomorrow, so do make sure you subscribe for this. Tomorrow morning's video, we're going to go into Ratcliffe's interview. So Ratcliffe's giving an interview tonight about United. He's going to speak up about United tonight. It's not happened just yet, and obviously we will be covering that in tomorrow's video as well. And as people are saying, Ronaldo articles is to drive traffic to websites to be controversial. Negative Ronaldo news sells. Do you know what? If you look at ESPN, always negative Ronaldo tweets saying Messi's better because they know it gets interactions. And Ronaldo knows because he's the biggest player in the world. If people say negative things about Ronaldo, it gets interaction. And Rich is absolutely all right. Ronaldo and United always attract attention. And if you write something negative about them, negative attention, it gets attraction as well. But let's scroll down into the chat as well. Do keep subscribing and sharing the video. I'd like to see Shaw left back Malacia, right? But I said this, and I've been saying this for a while. Ten Hag does not rate Wan-Bissaka. Ten Hag does not like Wan-Bissaka. It's very obvious because he played Lindelof as backup right back and instead of Wan-Bissaka when he rested Delo. Maybe Wan-Bissaka will play against Ammonia. I don't know. But what I'm saying is, you know, I generally think if something happens to Delo, I think it's Malacia right back, Luke Shaw left back. I do not see much more Wan-Bissaka, sadly. Jim Ratcliffe is giving the interview now, guys. So tomorrow morning's video will be on Jim Ratcliffe's interview and him speaking about Man United and his things of Man United. But obviously, it's a big Jim Ratcliffe interview. He's not talking loads about United specifically. So after the interview, we'll pick up the key points that Jim Ratcliffe has said about United and the potential takeover. So do make sure you're subscribed, obviously, to stay ahead of the potential takeover. But I do want to summarise the main points in today's video before we leave as well. Dear Alice, you're spot on. The treacherous schemes of the greedy Glazer family, the Eustace board, the goons, and the fellow mafia members unfairly targeting Ronaldo. Yeah, literally they are. They'll do anything for their own gain, the Glazers, and they will literally take stuff out on Ronaldo and set themselves as well. But I did like Wan-Bissaka, but he's just really not a 10-hour player in it, and it's very obvious that Wan-Bissaka's not one of the 10-hour. Mark now says Mbappe's a dressing room nightmare, and that's the situation with Mbappe. He's a dressing room nightmare, but he's such a good player. Mbappe, look, I said in the video Mbappe to United in January because Mbappe wants to leave PSG in January, but I'm 99% sure Mbappe wouldn't be going to United in January. I just thought it'd be a good discussion point in the video about Mbappe in January. Would you actually take him? Not that I actually believe it's going to happen, just to clear that up. But let's get into some of the transfer news coming out, some of the stories coming out, because there's a few real interesting news stories coming out that I want to get into before I end the live stream as well. I want to quickly get into what Fabrizio Romano's come out and said, because obviously Romano said, you know, Diego Delo is really wanted by Barcelona, apparently, according to reports. And obviously Romano spoke about Diego Delo leaving United, and he said that United have the option to extend Delo's contract for next year. They feel protected on the situation. They will not activate this option until they have the opportunity to negotiate with Diego and his agent, not something advanced. But Diego Delo has been playing very well, wanted by Barcelona. He's only got a year left on his contract, so this could potentially be a contract that United think about upgrading. I think, you know, we've got Luke Shaw, we've got Fred, we've got Rashford, we've got Delo, we've got Ronaldo, and we've got one more player with 1 year left on their contract that United will be looking to potentially extend. But Ten Hag, remember, as we said in my live stream the other day, Ten Hag has said to Manchester United, do not be extending any contracts soon. Just because they have 3 or 4 good games in a row, do not extend their contract to get the commercial value up. Ten Hag's made it clear to United board, and this is why I love Ten Hag. He's made it clear to United board, like, you aren't extending their contracts. Ten Hag wants to create a culture where, yes, Delo's been brilliant this season, and he has 1 year left on his contract, but he's saying, I'm not giving Delo a new contract yet because we're not even a third of the way through the season. And I like that because Ten Hag's making a culture where if the players want new contracts and wage upgrades and bonuses at United, they've got to deserve it. They've got to earn it. Ten Hag's creating this new culture where they've got to fight for it. You know, you want that big wage upgrade, you want more money. Well, you know, you've got to fight for it. You've got to earn this. And, you know, I respect Ten Hag for that because it's really going to drive the best out of the Manchester United players, in my opinion. But look, guys, I'm going to wrap up today's live stream now. So I do want to thank everybody for tuning into today's live show. It's been a really, really good live show. Good people in the chat as well. We will be back live tomorrow. We're going to do a Man United versus Ammonia preview tomorrow. We're going to talk about who should play versus Ammonia and who should play versus Newcastle in tomorrow's live stream. But thanks everyone for tuning into today's video. I do appreciate the support on the channel. I do appreciate everyone tuning in the chat. You know, I do recognise the same names over and over, so it's nice to see all support. So smash a like on the way out, subscribe down below. There should be a Gio Ratcliffe video out tomorrow if he says anything interesting in the interview today. Could even go out tonight if I've got time, or if he says anything real crazy. But there should be a Jim Ratcliffe update tomorrow, and there will be back live tomorrow evening for United, Newcastle, Ammonia news and that. So smash a like, subscribe on the way out. Thanks for watching. See you next time, and bye.